Listen closely. Some men enter this world crying. You entered it with clenched fists. From your first breath, your heart beat with the rhythm of war drums. You were born to fight, not because someone taught you, but because it flows in your blood, etched in your bones, coded in your soul. The warrior spirit chose you before you chose it. Think back to your earliest memories. When other children ran from challenge, something in you ran toward it. When they surrendered, something in you refused. This wasn't learned behavior. It was instinct. Raw, unfiltered instinct passed down through countless generations of survivors who refused to bow. You come from unbroken stock. Think about this truth. For you to exist today, not a single one of your ancestors across thousands of generations surrendered when it mattered most. Not one gave up when survival demanded more. Every link in your bloodline held when tested against the forge of time. The quitters, the surrenderers, their lines ended. Their blood doesn't flow in your veins. You carry only the victorious. This is why you rise when others remain fallen. This is why you advance when others retreat. This is why you fight when others surrender. It's not choice, it's heritage. It's not decision, it's destiny. The Spartans understood this bone-deep truth. When asked why Sparta had no defensive walls, King Agesilaus pointed to his warriors and said, "These are the walls of Sparta, each man a brick, each heart a fortress. Each spirit unbreachable, not through training alone, but through awakening what already slept within them."
Tonight,
Your ability to withstand pain isn't learned, it's remembered. Your body recalls what your mind forgot. You were built for this. When muscles burn, when lungs heave, when sweat pours like rain, you're not reaching your limit, you're returning to your nature. The fighter within awakens. Most men fear the ground. They see falling as failure. Being knocked down terrifies them because they lack the certainty they can rise again. Not you. You've made friends with the ground. You know it intimately. You understand a profound truth they've never grasped. The ground isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. Every time it greets you, you learn. Every time you push yourself up from it, you grow stronger. The ground doesn't defeat the bullfighter. It merely provides the launching pad for his next attack. In ancient Sparta, young warriors trained not on soft sand but on hard-packed earth. Not to make training comfortable, but to make falling painful. To forge alliance between fighter and ground. To transform potential defeat into guaranteed education. Their bodies learned what their minds already knew. Pain is temporary, but surrender is forever. The average man believes fighting spirit comes from anger, from vengeance, from emotional storm. But you know differently. True fighting spirit emerges from stillness, from certainty, from unshakable knowledge of who and what you are. The fiercest warriors aren't those who lose control, but those who maintain it when chaos reigns around them. This explains your strange calm in crisis. When disaster strikes, when challenges mount, when others panic, you find unusual clarity. Your breathing slows, your vision sharpens. Time itself seems to stretch. This isn't accident or coincidence. It's the fighter's natural state. Like the predator who becomes most focused in the moment before the pounce, your essential nature reveals itself precisely when pressure mounts highest. Spartans called this state ruthmos, the perfect rhythm between controlled breathing, focused mind, and ready body. Not frantic energy, but channeled power. Not desperate aggression, but calculated action. They knew the greatest advantage in battle wasn't superior numbers or weapons, but superior presence. The ability to be fully there when others were scattered by fear. Consider how you've always handled setbacks. Where others see endings, you instinctively seek beginnings. Where they see stop signs, you see detours. Where they see walls, you see climbing challenges. This isn't optimism or positive thinking. It's the pragmatic vision of the born fighter, who understands that as long as breath remains, so does opportunity for comeback. The knockout only happens when you decide it happens. Until then, it's just another round. Pain doesn't signal stop. It signals transformation. Every fighter knows the strange alchemy that happens within, the moment when agony transforms into fuel. When what should weaken somehow strengthens. When limitation births breakthrough. Your body understands what most never learn. Pressure creates diamonds, fire forges steel, resistance builds muscle. The thing meant to break you becomes the very force that makes you unbreakable. In Sparta, they understood this principle so deeply they built their entire culture around it. Their word for it translates roughly as the beautiful struggle, the recognition that humanity reaches its highest expression not despite resistance but because of it. Not by avoiding pain but by moving through it. Not by escaping challenge, but by consuming it as fuel for transformation. This explains your strange relationship with obstacles. You don't just overcome them, you require them. Without worthy challenges to push against, something essential within you sleeps. Bones need resistance to grow strong. Muscles need resistance to grow powerful. Spirit needs resistance to grow unbreakable. The born fighter doesn't curse the weight, he thanks it for the strength it builds. Look at your hands. Really look at them. These aren't just tools for typing or writing or holding coffee cups. These are weapons that have existed since time began. The same basic design that first curled around stone axes. That drew bowstrings. That held shield walls against impossible odds. Your hands remember what your mind forgot. They were made for making and breaking. For building and battling. For lifting yourself when gravity demands you stay down. The greatest fights you'll ever face won't happen in rings or cages or battlefields. They'll happen in the silent arena of your own mind. In the private moments, when exhaustion whispers enough, and something deeper in you answers, not yet. In the dark hours, when doubt suggests surrender, and something ancient in your blood replies, never. This is where champions are forged. Not under spotlights, but in shadows where only you witness your own courage. Spartans knew the decisive battle always happens internally, before it manifests externally. Their most revered quality wasn't physical strength, but psychological fortitude. The ability to face inner demons with the same courage as external enemies. They understood you never truly fight another person. You fight the surrender reflex within yourself. Master that, and external opponents become merely obstacles to overcome, not forces to fear. Every fight leaves marks. Scars on skin, calluses on knuckles, memories etched in mind. These aren't disfigurements, but decorations. Not damages, but distinctions. Each one tells a story of resistance faced and overcome, of pain endured and transcended, of limits tested and expanded. While others hide their scars, you wear yours as silent testimony. Evidence not of what was done to you, but of what failed to defeat you. The born fighter understands a truth that escapes most. You aren't diminished by battle. You're defined by it. Every challenge faced transforms you. Every pain endured strengthens you. Every fall followed by rising enlarges you. You aren't the same fighter after each battle. You're upgraded, enhanced, evolved. The fire meant to consume you instead refines you. The hammer meant to break you instead shapes you. The pressure meant to crush you instead compresses you into something harder than diamond. Consider the sword. Before it becomes a weapon, it's merely potential, raw ore in the ground. The journey from possibility to reality requires extraction, melting, hammering, folding, grinding, and tempering. Each stage looks like destruction, but serves creation. The ore must be crushed to be purified. The metal must be melted to be reshaped. The blade must be hammered to gain strength. The edge must be ground away to find sharpness. The nearly finished sword must face fire again in tempering to achieve perfect balance between hardness and flexibility. You are this sword in human form. Every hardship you faced wasn't punishment, but purification. Every pain endured wasn't cruelty, but crafting. Every setback experienced wasn't failure, but folding steel to make it stronger. What seemed like breaking was actually making. What felt like destruction was actually construction of something unbreakable. The greatest fighters throughout history share one common trait. They transformed disadvantage into advantage. Too small, became quicker. Too slow, became more powerful. Lacked resources, became more creative. Faced overwhelming odds, became more strategic. The born fighter doesn't wait for perfect conditions before engaging. He takes what exists and reshapes it into what's needed. Spartans elevated this principle to art form. Outnumbered, they used narrow passes to neutralize numerical advantage. Facing mounted troops, they created terrain too rocky for horses. Resources blocked, they reduced their needs to achieve independence from supply lines. Their legendary response when told Persian arrows would blot out the sun wasn't despair but tactical adaptation. Then we'll fight in the shade. This resourcefulness runs in your blood. You've always found ways where others saw only walls, created options where others saw only dead ends, built bridges where others saw only chasm. This isn't education or privilege. It's the ingrained nature of the fighter who refuses to accept impossible as final verdict. Remember this truth when facing your current battles. The way through never reveals itself to those who stand still. Motion creates opportunity. Engagement reveals opening. The fighter who waits for perfect clarity before moving will never move at all. The moment of absolute certainty never arrives. There is only action in the face of uncertainty. Decision despite incomplete information. Advance despite unclear paths. The born fighter carries an unspoken secret. Getting knocked down isn't failure. Staying down is. The ground has tried to hold you before. It failed. It will try again. It will fail again. Because something in you refuses soil as final destination. Gravity pulls downward, but your spirit pulls upward with greater force. This isn't just determination. It's definition. The fish swims. The bird flies. The fighter rises. Not because it's commanded, but because it's coded in the deepest level of being. In Sparta, young warriors learned to sleep on hard ground rather than soft beds. Not as punishment, but as preparation. Teaching their bodies from earliest youth that contact with earth was temporary state, not permanent condition. Training muscles to push away from ground as automatic response, requiring no conscious decision. Making rising not a choice, but an instinct, triggered by the very sensation of falling. Your relationship with pain differs from ordinary men. Where they fear it, you've learned to read it, to interpret its messages with precision, to distinguish between injury pain that warns and training pain that transforms, between suffering that damages and suffering that develops, between the fire that destroys and the fire that forges. This discernment isn't just physical wisdom, it's fighter's intelligence. the ability to extract value from experiences others merely endure. Consider how differently you view challenge compared to those around you. Where they seek safety, you seek growth. Where they choose comfort, you choose transformation. Where they avoid resistance, you actively pursue it. This isn't masochism or self-punishment. It's the innate recognition that your best self emerges not despite obstacles, but because of them. Not in avoidance of difficulty, but in direct engagement with it. Spartans built their entire society around this principle. Their training wasn't designed to make life comfortable, but to make men exceptional. Their famous phrase, "Come back with your shield or on it," wasn't cruelty, but clarity. The recognition that greatness never emerges from half measures or partial commitments. That exceptional results require exceptional devotion. That transformative power comes only through total engagement. Your instincts have always pulled you toward this same understanding. When others seek the easy path, something in you is drawn to the difficult one, not because you enjoy suffering, but because you sense the growth waiting on the other side. Not because hardship itself attracts you, but because the version of yourself forged through hardship calls to you. The champion hidden within the challenger, the victor concealed within the struggle, the undefeatable fighter waiting to be revealed through resistance that would break lesser men. The born fighter possesses strange gratitude toward adversaries. They aren't enemies, but teachers. Not obstacles, but opportunities. Not threats, but tests. Without worthy opposition, your greatest strengths would remain dormant, your deepest resources untapped, your highest potential unrealized. The opponent who pushes your limits doesn't diminish you. They reveal you. They force evolution that comfort would never demand. Most misunderstand the fighter's mindset. They imagine rage, hatred, aggression. But the true fighter operates from center of calm certainty. Not emotional storm, but perfect stillness. Not desperate energy, but focused power. Like the eye of hurricane, quietest precisely where forces around it reach maximum intensity. This centered quality isn't absence of emotion, but transcendence of it. Not emotionless, but emotion mastered. Not unfeeling, but feelings channeled with precision that transforms them from potential weakness to undeniable strength. Spartans trained for this mental discipline as diligently as physical prowess. Their exercises included standing motionless in formation while enduring verbal and physical harassment without reaction. Not to suppress emotion, but to master it. To develop the ability to choose response rather than being controlled by stimulus. To maintain strategic clarity, even when tactical situations seem designed to provoke emotional reaction. Their term for this state translates roughly as warrior heart, the perfect balance between passionate commitment and calculated execution. Your natural response to knockdowns reveals this same quality. The clarity that comes after impact. The strange calm that descends when rising from canvas. The focused determination that replaces panic or despair. This isn't learned behavior, but remembered wisdom. Your body, recalling what your ancestors discovered through countless battles. Emotion serves the fighter only when fighter remains master of emotion. Consider how you process failure differently than those around you. Where others see ending, you see information. Where they experience shame, you extract education. Where they construct narrative of defeat, you build foundation for comeback. This isn't positive thinking technique, but fighter's natural perspective. The pragmatic viewpoint that transforms setback from permanent condition to temporary position. From final verdict to mid-story challenge. From period to comma. In Sparta, Young warriors weren't punished for failure, but for failing to learn from failure, for repeating mistakes rather than incorporating their lessons, for surrendering to limitation rather than using it as mapping tool to find alternate paths. They understood that failure itself holds no inherent meaning. The meaning emerges from response to failure, from the story constructed around it, from the actions that follow it. Your fighting spirit manifests not just in obvious arenas, but in subtle challenges most never recognize as battles. The daily decision to maintain discipline when comfort calls. The consistent choice to pursue excellence when mediocrity would suffice. The quiet determination to keep promises to yourself when no one would know if you didn't. These invisible victories shape the fighter as surely as visible ones. Perhaps more so, because they require not just physical courage but moral fortitude, not just external strength but internal integrity. The born fighter carries uncommon certainty about purpose, while others wander through existence questioning their direction. Something in you has always known. You are here to overcome, to endure, to advance, to transform challenge into triumph. This isn't ego or ambition, it's identity. Not what you do, but what you are. The fish doesn't question its purpose to swim. The eagle doesn't doubt its nature to fly. And you've never truly questioned your essential nature to rise when falling would be easier. Remember this truth in your current battles. You've never stayed down before. The ground has claimed you temporarily but never permanently. Gravity has pulled you down but never kept you down. Opposition has slowed you but never stopped you. This isn't coincidence or luck. It's character expressed through action. Identity revealed through response. Nature manifested through choice. That isn't really choice at all, but recognition of what you've always been. Fighter born, raised, and proven. In the words of the ancient Spartans, come and take them. Not surrender disguised as negotiation. Not retreat masked as strategy, but absolute commitment to the fighter's path. The recognition that some things cannot be compromised without compromising essence itself. Stand your ground, hold your line, maintain your stance. Not because victory is guaranteed, but because standing true to fighter's nature is victory already, regardless of external outcome. You were born for this. The struggle, the resistance, the rising, the overcoming. Not punishment, but purpose. Not burden, but birthright. The fire in your blood wasn't placed there by accident or coincidence. It was passed down by warriors who refused to surrender when surrender seemed only sane option. By fighters who chose painful advance over comfortable retreat. By men who understood in their marrow that falling isn't failure, but falling and staying down is. Rise again. It's what you do. It's who you are. It's why you're here. Born fighter. Never finished. Never defeated. Never conquered. Only temporarily delayed on path to inevitable victory.